Good Monday evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Emily Walls, and today I'm sure you noticed it was feeling like fall across the area. We actually started off today with temperatures in the 40s for a large portion of the Chicagoland area, and we're going to do that again tonight and then possibly even Tuesday night going into Wednesday. So this fall-like feel that we're experiencing, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So we're going to be breaking into those details and then also taking you to the tropics, checking in with Tropical Storm Fernan that is spinning away in the Atlantic, but fortunately not expected to bring any major impacts to land. Right now, it's more than 400 miles east-northeast of Bermuda, and it looks like the forecast trend is going to keep it moving farther and farther away from land. So that's wonderful news there. We're still going to check in with the tropics because, of course, we're approaching peak hurricane season, but we're actually seeing a little bit of a lull throughout the Atlantic right now. So details on that. And then finally, we're going to be talking about a preview of Labor Day weekend. Of course, that's right around the corner. And then coming up this weekend, we do see a slow warming trend, but the majority of your Labor Day weekend still looking like it's going to be below average. So let's talk about those cooler temperatures. This is the overall setup that we had today. And you can see this large area that's highlighted in blue across the Midwest, the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes region. That's all representing temperatures that are well below average for this time of the year. And a lot of what it comes down to is, do you see that low pressure system up in Canada? So this is a very large and strong low pressure system. And typically around a low, you have counterclockwise wind flow. So we're on the back side of this low pressure system picking up northwesterly wind. So that northerly wind is bringing down that cooler Canadian air mass. And that's why temperatures are significantly cooler than where we have been recently, because we have this really large dip in the jet stream there because of that low pressure system. And if we advance this to tomorrow, notice how the overall setup, it really doesn't change all that much. So there's still a large portion of the eastern half of the U.S. that's likely going to be dealing with temperatures that are cooler than average. And just today, we actually topped out between 10 and 15 degrees below average for this time of the year in some portions of the area. So at O'Hare today, we ended up topping out at 69 degrees. That's more typical of an early October day than a late August day, because average for this time of the year is 82 degrees. So we fell well shy of that. The record high temperature was 95 degrees. Record low temperature was 47 degrees. And you'll notice that this morning's low temperatures, we really weren't too far off from that. At O'Hare, we ended up getting down to about 55 degrees, but a lot of our suburbs ended up bottoming out in the 40s, the mid to upper 40s. And I think that's what we're going to do again tonight too. So for those of you that are farther inland, away from the Chicago metro, very easily looking at mid to upper 40s again tomorrow morning. Your current temperatures, notice how we're already starting to see a few locations dipping down into the 50s, 58 degrees in Aurora, 65 right now at O'Hare, 63 in Valparaiso. We're at 58 degrees in Rensselaer, 66 in Joliet. Same thing at Midway, but the wind direction right now is coming in out of the northwest, and over the lake specifically, we have northerly winds. So that's resulting in really high wave action across the northwest Indiana lakefront there. So in Lake County, we actually have this beach hazard statement that's going to remain in effect until 10 p.m. this evening. But in Porter and LaPorte County, it's actually been extended until 7 p.m. tomorrow night for waves possibly as high as 4 to 7 feet. And of course, this is coming along with a rip current risk as well. So when waves are high, stay dry. Yes, temperatures are running a little bit cooler. I'm sure there's not a ton of people flocking to the beach, but for a lot of students, this is still the last week before school's in session. So I'm sure those beaches are still going to be pretty busy in some portions of the area. So just keep that in mind. We have dangerous boating, swimming conditions likely going to continue for Porter County beaches, LaPorte County beaches until at least tomorrow evening around 7 p.m. Now, your 5-day forecast as far as temperatures are concerned, notice how cool we're going to stay throughout the rest of this work week. We're going to be in the low to mid 70s, low 70s tomorrow, and that actually could be a stretch. Tomorrow looks almost like a carbon copy of what we had today. So there's going to be several locations tomorrow that probably end up getting stuck in the upper 60s because we're going to start off with sunshine, and then we'll see increasing cloud cover through the day. That's going to limit how much we're able to heat up, very similar to what happened this afternoon. So your high temperatures tomorrow going to be right around 70 degrees for a lot of us. We're in the mid 70s then on Wednesday and Thursday, Friday near 71 degrees. And then on Saturday going into this Labor Day weekend, We're starting to see those temperatures stair-stepping their way up, but I still think it's going to be fairly temporary because on Saturday, we're expected to see high temperatures right around 75, but watch what happens beyond the next 5 days. This is your temperature outlook from the 31st, which is Sunday, through the 4th, which happens to be next Thursday. And we're still fairly strongly favored to see below average conditions. Now, does it mean every single one of those days we're going to be below average? No, this is an average throughout this time period from the 31st through the 4th. So on Sunday and Monday, we're actually expected to be fairly seasonable. That's going to put us in the upper 70s to low 80s. But then going through next week, I expect to see another cooler air mass kind of building back in. So yes, we'll get a brief warm up. I think just in time for Labor Day, if you're hoping to be out and about, enjoy the day outside, head to the beaches. I do think temperatures are really going to be cooperating, but then we should start to see those cooling back down going through next week. And then this is looking into the first week of September. This is your temperature outlook from the 2nd through the 8th. And you'll notice that we're finally starting to get away from this cooler air mass. The chance for cooler than average temperatures going into the beginning of September, while it slightly exists for some parts of the area, the overall picture that we're starting to see here is that we're likely going to be seeing temperatures that are fairly seasonable for the first week of September. And that's going to be putting us in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees, if not in the lower 80s. So it does look like we start to kind of even things out a bit as we go into next month. Now, checking in with the tropics. So we do have one area that we're keeping a close eye on. This is Tropical Storm Fernan. And right now it has maximum sustained winds of right around 60 miles per hour. Your wind gusts are as high as about 70 miles per hour. Notice the movement. So it's moving northeasterly at about 14 miles per hour. So this thing is actually cruising for a tropical storm. It's moving quite quickly, but it's going to continue on this northeasterly track and then eventually turn more to the northeast, which is going to take it even farther away. So what you're looking at right now, it's already about 425 miles east-northeast of Bermuda. So it's really not bringing much of an impact to Bermuda. It's certainly not going to be bringing onshore impacts to the U.S. Notice how this takes off toward the northeast. And then going into the middle of this week, by about Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, definitely, I do think at this point it's no longer even going to be a tropical storm. It's likely going to continue to weaken, and then we'll be back down to about 35 mile per hour winds by Wednesday afternoon. And remember, a tropical storm, the wind speeds begin at 39 miles per hour. So once it drops below that, then of course we no longer have a tropical storm. Zooming things out, this is a product that has actually come out by the National Hurricane Center. And typically this is the same map that I've shown you in the past where you see those orange, red, or yellow just blobs over the Atlantic or the Eastern Pacific. But you'll notice here, it's entirely quiet. So this is the tropical cyclone development that's expected over the next 7 days. And we're not seeing any areas that are currently highlighted. So even though we're approaching the peak season of hurricane season, which typically really starts to ramp up late August, we hit our peak in September and then into early October, things actually are trending pretty quiet for the next week. Now, this is in the Atlantic. Sliding things over to the Eastern Pacific, you can see there's 2 areas that are highlighted, but it's still only about a 20% risk of a tropical cyclone development just off the coast of Mexico there, and then just southwest of Hawaii, there's about a 30% risk of a tropical cyclone development, but really that's not all that high. So all things considered, it looks fairly calm here in the tropics over the next couple of days. All right, coming up after this very short break, I am going to be talking rain chances because not only do we have the very small chance for lake effect rain showers in some portions of the area here at home, but we also have a system that's going to swing through on Thursday. Those details coming up. Welcome back. So we're going to be seeing some rain here at home in the next couple of days, mainly as the system swings through Wednesday night into Thursday. But some portions of the U.S. that could really use some rain, of course, in the southwestern U.S. Let's take a look at the fire tracker here. So in wine country, ongoing right now, Napa County in California, there is a fire called the Picket Fire that actually began last Thursday on the 21st, and it just kind of exploded in size, but it has maintained its size in the last 2 days or so. So now it is up to about 6,803 acres. It's 13% contained, but something that's interesting about this fire is that it's actually working around the area that the glass fire burned a couple years ago. So that burn scar has actually really helped to limit how much this was able to grow and how fast it could grow. Regardless, there have still been evacuation orders. Again, this is throughout a large portion of Napa County in California, which for those of you wine lovers, you know where I'm talking about. All right, 5-day forecast here at home when we're talking about rain. Tomorrow looks fine. There's a very, very small chance that we could see an isolated rain chance in Porter, maybe LaPorte County as a result of lake effect. But again, the chance for that is very low. We're going to see a better chance of rain coming our way Wednesday night into Thursday as our next cold front begins to approach the area. It's not going to be a lot of rain, but we're going to have at least some scattered activity rolling through late Wednesday night and then lasting just on and off through the day on Thursday. So Futurecast taking us throughout the rest of this evening and tonight. Things are quiet here at home. With the lack of cloud cover, it's going to get chilly. Lows are going to be in the 40s and 50s. Again, coldest temperatures very easily going to be found farther inland, away from Lake Michigan and away from the Chicago heat urban island. So that's going to stay a little bit warmer. In Chicago, we're looking at mid-50s for our overnight low. Now on Wednesday, that high pressure system, it's starting to kind of scoot on by. So we wake up to sunny skies. We'll start to see increasing cloud cover through the day. And you'll notice on this model, it's trying to sneak in a couple of those showers by the end of the day on Wednesday. I do think that it's likely going to hold off until after sunset, if not after midnight for a lot of us. Wednesday night and into your day on Thursday, we'll have those spotty showers and thunderstorms. As of now, severe thunderstorms do not look to be a concern. For tonight, 54 degrees in the city. We'll have that northwesterly wind flow 5 to 10 miles per hour, eventually calming down to about 3 to 6 miles per hour. So calm winds when we wake up tomorrow morning. Your 3-day forecast tomorrow, 71 degrees. I think that's what we're going to be in the city, but there's going to be quite a few suburbs that, just like today, get stuck in the upper 60s because of that increase in cloud cover during the afternoon. And then on Wednesday, we're expected to be in the mid 70s, partly cloudy skies expected. Wednesday night into Thursday, that's when we start to see that next chance of showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures are still pretty mild on Thursday. That's going to put us in the mid 70s. But looking ahead to Labor Day weekend, there is hope that we could be seeing a few more beach days. I'll show you all that in your 7-day forecast coming up very soon on the news at 9. We'll see you soon.